I'm your host, Nick Crocker, and this is the show where all I do is talk about and review the new episodes of the show Arrow. I'm getting into episode 4, which is titled, I believe, Beyond Redemption. And I gotta say, I think so far, this has been the best episode of the season. The villain aside, I think this has been the strongest episode in my recent memory. This episode, in my opinion, quality-wise, I think it's better than most of the episodes in third season. Just because there was no like relationship drama, there wasn't any of the characters doing anything stupid, the writers weren't doing anything dumb. Like, it was an episode where I enjoyed watching it from start to finish. It was one of those episodes where I reminded why I like being an Arrow fan again. And just getting into it, just starting off with the new Arrow Cave. That looks so badass. I mean, obviously it's reminiscent of the Bat Cave when they have like the display of all the suits, and that's so badass whenever they go to work, the suitcase just opened up, and that's just so cool. And it's such a step up from that shitty ass little Arrow Cave they had for the last 3 episodes. That was just no. That previous Arrow Cave was lame. I mean, a part of me hoped that they just upgraded, the Foundry, but obviously, for obvious reasons, they're not going back to that. But seeing them in this new, bigger, better, and just more badass Arrow Cave, it looks pretty fucking cool. I mean, excuse my language, but it looks pretty cool. So that's probably one of the coolest things about this episode. And then another thing is, they made like a subtle reference to Neil Adams as an archer. And Neil Adams, for those of you who don't know, is one of the famous artists who has actually worked on the Green Arrow comic book like decades ago. And actually, just to give you guys an example, give me a second here. So here's an example of one of his covers from Green Arrow back in the 70s, where he was drawing Green Lantern and Green Arrow, and the famous issue, at least to us comic book fans, where Speedy was discovered to be doing drugs. This is a big deal at the time because comics didn't touch on like subjects like that. And the artwork is so detailed, and obviously this is just a reprint. But I got the chance to meet Neil Adams at WonderCon this past year, and I was wearing my Green Arrow cosplay, and he seemed very stern and serious, but he seemed very excited to be like talking to fans, So I mean, and I got him to autograph this, so it's a little cool thing I wanted to show off. But having that little reference in the episode was kind of cool. I mean, this show's done that in the past, where they made references to some of the comic book artists and writers, which, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's a comic book show, so obviously they're going to throw in little Easter eggs here and there. But another thing that I really enjoyed about the episode was that we finally see Captain Lance getting over his issues with Oliver and the team. And seeing him interact with the team, that's another thing I miss about last season. When they screw that up, I'm not saying like they screwed up Lance's character, but I'm just saying with the way they handled Lance's character, which is just like, dude, come on, don't go back to season 1. Like, come on, dude. Like, we already went through like, pretty much a whole season of that crap, and you finally got to the point in season 2 where he trusted the team, he worked with the team, and then that was fine through season 3, and then it went downhill, and then they screwed that up. But see them finally getting to that point where he's finally working with the team again. Of course, he's a little like I have enough to put you guys away for 25 years, blah 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 blah. But seeing him just work with the team is just something that I've enjoyed and something that I've really missed about the show. And again, I really miss it. If you guys haven't noticed, but seeing that, and actually, okay, so going into another thing that I liked, I've been on the fence about the whole Curtis Holt character, because I feel like they're trying to push him really hard. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're trying to push like another character who's like Felicity, kind of like what they did last year with Ray. But this episode, they drew it back a little bit, and they actually gave him the character something to work with. Like the fact that he's still dealing with the character's not doing anything. He's been doing the same thing for the last like 3 episodes, trying to figure out to make that thing for the company so they can stay with them or whatever. But it's cool that he's helping Felicity work through the whole Ray thing, what's going on with Felicity's phone, and I don't know, like the things he was saying. I don't know, like his conversation with Felicity, I thought was really good and was really well written. And even now, I'm getting back to the point where I'm enjoying seeing Felicity again. Like, this was the first episode since season 3 that I feel like the show is starting it back to its roots, and it can move. It's kind of a combination of things. Like it's going back to how it was, but also taking steps in a new direction. Like obviously, like this season, their goal is be a little more lighter, not so dark and gritty. But I feel like there can be a balance. Obviously, like I don't want this show to be exactly like tone wise. I don't want it to be like Flash. Like Flash is good all the time because Flash is a different character entirely. Like Arrow, I think worked for the first 2 seasons because of the darkness and grittiness. And I think season 2 was a good balance of both. Because yes, you had your dark moments with Oliver killing and Slade killing Oliver's mom and all that. But then you had the scenes of Felicity and then other characters introduced, even Barry, obviously Barry Allen being in there. Like you had it's lighthearted moments, but at its core, it was just the combination of the two is what made the show work. And 3rd season, I feel like they tried to go too dark with having Ra's al Ghul as the villain. And first of all, as a fan, I was kind of interested in seeing it. But at the end of the day, I really wish they didn't do that. Because first of all, Ra's al Ghul isn't even a Green Arrow villain. Like seriously, like okay, before I used to not agree with fans who said that this show is a ripoff of Batman. And after watching 3rd season, I'm like, dude, they tried so hard to be Batman in the last season. Like it's not even funny anymore. Like I feel like most of the characters of the last season. Okay. Like the season, I'm really straying off topic here, but I just wanted to get this on my chest. Like last season, I feel like they screwed up Oliver, Felicity, and Lance big time. But as a result, I feel like I got more invested in Diggle. I got more invested in Roy. I got more invested in Nyssa, who I didn't think I would really. Nyssa's a cool character, but I didn't think I was going to get that invested with her as a character. And then even Laurel. Laurel went from a character who I didn't really like the first 2 seasons, but something happened in 3rd season where they figured out her place in the show. Because before she was just on the sidelines, like dealing with her and her addiction problems, and dealing with Tommy's death and all that sort of stuff. So I feel like they weren't utilizing the character right, and they weren't writing the character right. So once they fixed that, I feel like the show, at least on that aspect, was parts of last season. Okay, the majority of last season fucking sucked. Like I'll say that straight up. But at the same time, I feel like they did certain things with certain characters that were improvements of what they were doing previously. They screwed up Oliver, Felicity, Malcolm Merlin, and Lance. But I feel like, again, this episode is a step in the right direction, and makes me excited for the show again, especially next week with John Constantine coming on the show. You guys have no idea how excited I am for that. I'll save that for the end of the video, but I'm just saying, like, I'm excited for that. But now to go back on topic of the things I liked about this episode, the Oliver and Lance scene when Oliver first goes to his apartment and they're having that discussion, and Oliver confronting him about being in league with Damien Dark. That was such an emotionally powerful scene, and it was a scene that I think has been I've been waiting for, just them two coming to blows and just like airing out their dirty laundry, Like Oliver is okay. He's a flawed character. He's been an asshole. He's been self-absorbed. All those things. Like okay, like I get that, but at the same time, like I felt like Lance needed to be like not like obviously hit in the face. And I just feel like he needed to be confronted with his own issues and the things that he. Like even Oliver brings up, like he thinks you're so much better than him, and what made the scene work for me was when Oliver said, "You're the reason I want to be mayor." I'm looking for your approval. Like, and to me, that was Oliver's way of saying, like since my dad died, I've had no father figure, and you're the one I want to impress. Like, okay, not impress. You're the one I'm trying to make the right. I'm trying to be the better man for you. I don't want you to have the perception of me that. From when I was on the island, I don't want you to have from when I was before the island. I didn't want him to have that perception. Ugh. I'm sorry, I'm really tongue tied tonight, guys. Just the way that Stephen Amell delivered that scene, I teared up a little bit. It was one of those scenes, the rare scenes that Arrow has, where it's just so emotionally just powerful. And as a fan, I'm just like, oh my god, like I could not keep my eyes off the screen. I had the scene spoiled for me because I follow the Arrow page on Twitter and Tumblr, So unfortunately, I saw bits of that scene already. But still, even then, like seeing the scene, like seeing the raw emotion of that scene, I was just sorry. My eye was itchy. I wasn't actually tearing up. But that was in the episode. It's just, that scene was just my favorite scene of the episode, hands down. You know, applause to Stephen Amell. He just, and again, an instance of where like Stephen Amell's acting is getting so much better and better and better and better. And again, the show is finally getting back on the right track, and I'm starting to really like it again. I hope I don't jinx it. I hope this show just maintains like this level of good. Like, it doesn't even have to be season 2 level, or like just get up to at least like season 1. I'll be happy. That's all. As a fan, that's all I want. Just give me a good season of the show, please. That's all I want. Sorry, I'm getting really off topic here tonight, guys. So like I'm going more. So I'm just gonna blow through the things that I like, so I can so I'm not dragging on anymore. Laurel's updated Canary Cry when they're fighting like the would-be cops, and the guy has like, the device that like turns off for Canary Cry, and then she comes back and it's like upgraded, and seeing like how she uses it, it's like new what is it? New frequency, same cry. Like that was kind of a cool line, I gotta admit. And I gotta say, I liked Thea in this episode. Going from the last couple of episodes, I was getting to the point where Thea was annoying me again. But the writers, I think sometimes they just need to pull back on Thea a bit, because sometimes I think the way like how they treat her as a character is a little over the top sometimes, and even with the whole like Lazarus Pit thing and her being a little crazy, I just feel like sometimes they don't know how to treat her as a character, and they're still figuring her out. But it's like, come on, you guys are in the 4th season, find out something to do with this character. I mean, she's even speedy now. Like, come on, like you guys can't be using that excuse of like, oh, we're still trying to develop the character. I mean, like, develop the character, but find interesting things to develop instead of going back to what didn't work in the past. Like, her not listening to anyone, her thinking, I don't need to listen to you, throwing her little fits. Like, don't do that. Like, just have her like she is tonight, like in a good. Give her good lines. Give her stuff to give Willa Holland stuff to work with. I mean, come on. So, I like the end of this episode. My big question is, I mean, obviously Oliver's mayoral speech at the end. Like, I'm excited for this whole storyline. I mean, and it gives us a new chance to develop Oliver as a character, because now he's a character who's like out in the open. I mean, and he's more out in the open as Green Arrow. He's more out in the open as Oliver Queen. I'm really curious to see how that goes. And my thing is, I want to know what's in that damn box that Damien Dark was about to open. I mean, I don't know if that was that same thing that he was doing before, where he was like cutting himself, and then like the Arabic thing was on his arm. Like, I don't know if that's the same thing. I just want to know what the hell is in that box. And overall, it's again a really, really solid episode. And again, just to blow through the things that I didn't enjoy about the episode. I didn't like how when the cops or whatever came to take Lance, and Laurel was knocked out by Tage, she was like, like, it was so fake and so staged. I'm like, come on, guys, you can do better than that. I mean, that's a nitpicky thing, but that took me out of it. I was like, come on. And then, well, the villains themselves, the would-be cops, is just lame. Like, the villains of the week on Arrow were so lame. Okay, except for last week with Double Edge, I think, or Double Down. Like, he was a pretty badass villain. But these villains, it's just like, come on, like, give us more interesting villains. Give us, like, characters that actually have depth. Or at least, like, give us something cool about them, Like, don't give us another throwaway villain of the week or villains of the week, I don't know, that's really bugged me. And then, I understand where Lance was coming from. That whole scene in the end when, the lady cop or whatever, she was, like, she was holding Oliver by the neck. And Lance was talking her down, giving her the whole spiel. I'm like, oh my god, this is so cheesy. Like, oh my god. I was like drowning myself out because I'm like, I know exactly where this is going. He's talking to her, but in reality, he's talking to himself about his own issues and blah, blah, blah. Like, every show has done this in the past, and it's like, okay, like, can we just move on from this, please? Like, I don't know, that was just really cheesy, and again, just one of those things that took me out of the episode. But yeah, again, really, really solid episode. So, overall, solid episode. I mean, there's not much more to say. I mean, I like the episode. You guys saw me go on and on and on about it. And it's an episode where I'm finally excited to watch the show again. And next week's episode, John Constantine, I'm sorry. I'm so excited for next week's episode. Seeing John Constantine come back, and just being such a fan of the Constantine show from last year that was unfortunately canceled. I hope this means more appearances from John Constantine in this universe, whether it's on Flash, Arrow, or Legends of Tomorrow. I hope we see more of John Constantine other than next week's episode. But other than that, again, I'm really excited for next week's episode, if you guys can't already tell. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me, guys. So again, if you guys like what you see here, go ahead and hit subscribe. I review TV shows weekly. Monday nights I review Supergirl. Tuesdays I review The Flash, and then of course Wednesdays I review Arrow. And if you guys already didn't know, I made a reaction video to the Star Wars Force Awakens trailer from last Monday. If you guys can go ahead and see that, give it a thumbs up, tell me what you guys think. Go hit subscribe if you like what you see here. And so yeah, so until next week, guys, have a good one.